Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Chris.
Truly, my son is a butthole, as you name him.
We've got Vince.
This used to be a nice podcast you could bring your whole pantheon to.
I'm Kia. Hi, welcome to the show. We're reading some top 10 today. A comic that everyone's heard of, right? Top 10.
Hey, it's one of America's best comics.
It is. It's an Alan Moore comic, art by Gene Ha from that Wildstorm imprint ABC, which was basically like just Alan Moore comics. It's futuristic, not really futuristic, like an alternate world where like everyone's got powers of some sort. It follows a police precinct. We read the first 5 issues forever ago. Which episode was it, Vince?
Episode 12.
Oh my God.
In September 2015.
Good God.
2015. That was 2 Avengers movies ago.
That's how we measure time.
Several Spider-Man ago.
Well, we liked the first 5 issues. The first season was a full 12, so we thought, hey, why don't we finish this thing off finally? We're reading issues 6 through 12 this time. And we're continuing on with our long read of Thunderbolts. We'll be on issue 17 afterwards. So top 10, forever ago. And it's not really like a one and done series. It's not really much of like a story arc kind of series either. The whole first 12 issues are pretty good. So I did reread the first 5 to get these going. Chris, it sounds like you did as well.
I scanned through the first 5 issues. I have the actual trades of all of this, and so I was able to go back to hard copies because I love this series and I've read through it probably like half a dozen times, so I know it pretty well. But yeah, and I also, Vince, I assume in our episode 12 or whatever, I explained why we weren't reading issue 6. Did I say something?
You didn't.
I didn't explain. Well, the reason was because in issue 5 they caught the big episode arc villain, and episode 6 was just a one shot that had nothing to do with anything for the most part. And so I was like, well, we don't really need this one.
Well,
yeah.
we joked that I don't think this is because the 5th issue ends with a bunch of mice that are all dressed like Justice League and Avengers type costumes. Like there's a Shazam and a few other different costumes. It looks like there's a Green Lantern or Captain America mouse with superpowers. And then I'm like, okay, this is getting resolved. And I looked at the cover and I'm like, next cover is Santa Claus. So maybe not. Okay. But yeah, y'all really liked it. I was kind of positive about it relative to other comics like this, but I wasn't as big on it. I loved the sergeant who was a dog in a robot suit. And I liked the fact that it's not one single case per issue. All the cops are working multiple cases at the same time, and it's not fully linear, and it's not what you would expect from a CSI where the 3 plot lines all dovetail together into one case. There just happens to be super coincidence. It really isn't that way. And then a big alien thing that was it was the Libra killer, so it'd show up every time the Libra season it would murder people, which is actually a cool concept. And that ended up being an alien thing.
Yeah, we also really don't have a main character here. As I did reread the first 5, and I was kind of taking some minor notes here of okay, our main character is Robin Slinger, a new cop from the academy. But she really isn't. Nobody is the main character at all. It does a good job of kind of balancing everybody. And, you got a few more important characters and more recurring cops than others, but it feels pretty evenly weighted with everybody.
Yeah, it does do the trick of oh, you're new. We're going to introduce everyone to you, but she's not the focus character of the rest of this, especially the back half. She's not in it that much.
Right. Oh, and 10 years ago, I also said this book made me want to read or go back and finish The Shield and or start The Wire, and I have done neither since 2015.
Wow. All right. Well, stay tuned to see if that happens. Yep.
The Shield was still really good.
It was.
That series premiere is incredible how they handle their POV character like that. It's so good.
Can I tell you, just a few minutes ago when you were talking about how all the cops are always working on different mysteries and they don't necessarily all dovetail at the same time, I was really thinking about The Shield and thinking man, I would want to rewatch The Shield now.
And this predates The Shield.
Oh, crazy.
Shield is good.
The Shield really has nothing to do with this, I would say. Don't worry. It's also, we're not talking about Marvel Shield. We're talking about Vic Mackey. What's that guy's name? The bald guy?
The guy from Daddy-O and No Ordinary Family.
I forget his name. You know him. Anyways, we're talking about that show on FX. Yeah, good show. So anything else we got to say about the first 5? They caught the Libra killer. There's been the ghostly goose on the run, who's basically just grabbing women's butts.
Oh, you did say that you really wished it was actually a goose.
I did. It doesn't. It's not a goose either. I think we'll introduce everybody as we're going through it. This is also one of those comics where we're not going to be able to do it justice. There's so many little details and visual gags throughout everything, and we'll do the best we can to keep you up to date. But I definitely had a hard time with some character names as well.
Vic Mackey was Michael Chiklis, by the way. He played the Thing in Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
that's probably what people from listening to the show would know him most from.
That's probably it. I'll also say, despite kind of not knowing a lot of people's names, just to kind of talk about Gene Ha on art, he just does such a good job with giving all the characters such varied character designs that when someone pops up again, I'm like, okay, I know who exactly that is, even if I can't identify them by name, you know?
He really does.
So issue 6, we got Santa on the cover, being told to step away from the vehicle. But we open with Smacks. He's this big, blue, strong cop who's been a little bit standoffish the whole time, partnered up with the new cop, Toy Box. But he's having a dream about his dead partner, and a dream about his uncle saying he's dead, and he kind of wakes up. And he swings by his partner's place to give her a ride to work, kind of attempting to be a little friendlier. In the previous issue, a rave had gotten busted up, and there was a rock star from a boy band rounded up, maybe as part of that, maybe separately. But he seems to be drawing some attention. Toy Box meets a hostage negotiator that works for the precinct named The Word. He's got the power to command people with his voice. Gets red text. When you see that red text, he's commanding somebody. He's got an interesting character design. Big suit guy. I liked him. And then Sergeant Caesar, Sergeant Dog Cop. He is not currently in his robotic suit. He got kind of injured in the last issue, so he's on all fours, which I thought was cute. It's nice that he's still walking around and hanging out. Who else we got? We got Armageddon and her partner, Girl One. They're driving around. They almost crash into Santa on his sleigh. And they're kind of confused. His followers are all kids who look sort of weird. One of them looks like a Dr. Doom Charlie Brown. I really like the design on that kid. And they're all kind of, Santa's like, hey, are they naughty or nice? And all the kids are going naughty. And he's using his psychokinetic powers to throw shit at the police.
He's not really Santa, though.
I think he is really Santa, is what is implied later. But my first instinct was this is just a crazy guy who thinks he's Santa and has psychokinetic powers.
Oh, I thought that's what he was, and then slash forward to the end. There's a part where they're Santa's being booked. Yeah, that's totally normal. I think those characters just are I bet it is Santa. I think they're the ones. I think that's the joke.
Okay.
Later.
Yeah. They say he's a guy a level 2 psychokinetic powered guy.
Okay. That's what I thought. I wasn't positive, but it could have been Santa. Maybe. I do like that. Okay, I guess it's not, because this guy did fly reindeer up into the sky, and they are almost dead when they're landed, just from the shock of being up in the air like that. What else is going on? There's a John that they picked up in the first 5 issues. Here's part of the problem with this book is I don't know what's going to be important, so my notes are a lot of little details. But this hooker was meeting with a John in an alley, and they let them go before, but they have to pick him up because it was connected to a murder now. Andy is his name, and they've learned that he has the Storms virus. It's like a superhero STD kind of thing. And you get all mutated and gross. So they're like, yeah, we're going to have to tell him and tell his wife so we can get her tested. The Santa folks call for backup. Smacks thinks it's a joke job, but he shows up. The hostage negotiator shows up too. He manages to pretty easily put things to rest. And then after that, Smacks and Toy Box get pulled by Freya to the Gods Bar. Gods with a Z. She's saying that her son is dead, and we see Balder laying on the ground, dead. Whoa.
Of Baldur's Gate?
Wow.
Oh. Is it? I don't think.
No.
Wait, does Baldur's Gate have anything to do with Greek mythology?
It's Norse.
With Norse.
Norse.
But
Sorry.
no.
Really?
No, it's just a guy named Balder founded the town.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Because Two Human by Silicon Knights, that definitely does have like Balder and Thor and Odin and all.
Yeah, there are like Greek-ish deities in D&D, but yeah, there's not like just Norse. They changed all the names.
My goodness. But yeah, you're right.
Fascinating. I did not know that.
But Chris, you were probably right for us to not end our last episode on Top 10 on that issue. It's not a bad issue necessarily, but it is kind of like a little bit of a cool down after the first 5.
Yep, and we skipped the dream sequence, which was a lot of fun, especially coming back to it and being like, oh, where are we here exactly? That Smacks is. Who was it? Is it Jackie that starts flirting with him? Where you're like, this is obviously a dream.
It's obvious. Right. Yeah, she's a lesbian cop who is definitely a not man-hating, but she's outspoken about it. And she's like, hey, you want to make out with me? And we're like, all right, yeah.
Yep. And it does subtly hint that Smacks, we don't know his deal except he's blue and he's basically unstoppable, that he's actually from a fantasy world is hinted at for the first time in this.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Because he looks like a dark elf from Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah, from the aforementioned Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
But yes, he's he has a dream where he finds out his uncle has died in the dream, and also sees his dead former partner, and his partner warns him to protect Robin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Continuing on to issue 7 here, we start with Sergeant Hector Lopez, aka Monsoon, who
also another dream sequence type thing.
Yeah, he seems to be in a porno of some sort. There's a woman in her hot, steamy solarium, and she's trapped herself in there, and she needs the strong cop to come push the button to let her out. But it's actually that big, ugly, scary alien, the Libra killer, who is in captivity, trying to brainwash him to push the button to let her out. So he's not falling for it, and he's like recommending that only women be on duty to guard her. Detective Sin Jackson, gets called to the Gods Bar to help Robin, Toy Box, and Smacks. She's the one who has the powers to kind of see emotions as music and kind of like hear them and feel them and see colors and things like that, or I guess like auras, all that kind of stuff. Odin is in a rage. Freya's like, honey, you're frightening the ravens. They're explaining what happened to them. They were playing a game where people throw things at Balder, and Freya had made everything swear not to hurt him. Not just everyone, but everything in the world could not hurt him. But she forgot the mistletoe. She didn't make the mistletoe swear. Oh, no. And he seems to have been murdered with some mistletoe, which I did recognize as from like Norse mythology. That's a thing that happens with Baldur's. And that's also kind of the reveal at the end. But I was like, yeah, they are kind of retelling the story of we'll get to it. Meanwhile, they're informing Andy that John about his Storm's disease. They tell him they got to bring his wife in.
Storm's is superhero AIDS.
Yeah.
Except it turns you into a Resident Evil monster instead of just killing you.
Yep. Let's see. Smacks goes looking for for Hob, the brother of Balder, who was the last one to throw something at Balder. He's distraught about killing his brother, and he says the mistletoe was given to him by his uncle Locke, Lokk, who I guess is Loki. Is Locke like another name for Loki? I've never necessarily heard that before. But Loki changed it to an iron dart in midair. Odin's pissed. everyone's getting angry. They call for backup. Meanwhile, this other group of vigilantes from the planet, from a different organization, have shown up to take the Libra killer into their custody. She's from Venus. She's an alien. And she used to be a sidekick for these superheroes, and they kind of suck. They're just kind of real annoying, like really like talking about, oh, you're infringing on her rights, all that kind of stuff, and it's like, oh, she's a serial killer.
So they're very clearly like, one of them is very clearly like the Earth 2 Superman, the like middle-aged Superman.
Yeah.
And then Batman is a character named the Hound, who's kind of more like the Adam West sort of body type of Batman.
Mm-hmm. A lot of old-timey heroes. They all go, them and the captain show up to talk to the Libra killer. I didn't write her name down yet, but it's like
Murgula or something is how it's.
Murgula, yeah. And she has now taken the appearance of like a beautiful woman, and it's trying to like get on everyone's good side. It's like, oh, these officers are treating me so poorly. One of them tried to have sex with me, and they're like, oh, we got to get out of here.
So she, the creepy alien-looking thing that's been in that tube the whole time, she was like a sidekick of the Sentinels superhero team?
Yes.
Okay.
She was a member, yeah.
And the Sentinels were like, I mean, we talked about that, but I know there's like a spin-off book called like The 49ers, which takes place like in 1949. Are the Sentinels in that or no?
I don't know.
They might be in it, but I know that one, like Jet Lad is a character, and he's like the commissioner or whatever. He's like the old guy now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's more focused on the captain of the cops, kind of.
Yeah, it's about
it's
sort
still
of like
focused. Okay,
it is cop. It's like kind of founding the precinct.
Okay.
When everyone comes to the town after the war.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk more about those fools later. Meanwhile, we've got some backup has shown up at the Gods Bar, and they all laugh because it's like, oh, it's a story as old as time. Baldur gets murdered every day. It's just kind of regular Norse legend, and they repeat it over and over. And so Smacks and Toybox are just like, really? We just kind of wasted a bunch of time on this? All right, whatever. And they get out of there, and the Norse gods are like, hey, let's play a game. Let's all throw stuff at Baldur. Right after he kind of wakes back up and he's alive again.
Loki's like, hey, throw this.
Yeah, the one of the cops had like bagged up the mistletoe as evidence, and Loki's like, hey, I need that, and give that back.
So Kia, you knew the story of Baldur, and I guess you knew where this was going.
Well, I didn't know exactly where it was going, that it was just going to repeat over and over, and I was like, okay, I know it's going to be revealed that kind of Loki threw this mistletoe at him, but I didn't know the every day over and over again thing again. Let's see, what do we got? The hooker from the Libra case. Earlier on, there was one of these hookers who, the Libra killer was decapitating everybody, but this woman got away with just a severed finger. The sergeant Caesar, the dog cop, was kind of taking care of her and making sure she was safe, and she took a liking to him, it seems. She goes to the cybernetics lab or whatever while he's getting dressed in his robot suit and invites him out to dinner, and he's like, yeah, I'd like that. Let's see. They also thought they caught the ghostly goose in the last issue, or a couple issues ago, but it was nobody. One of the cops got groped in a diner, so they arrested everyone in the diner, but then they had to let everyone go. They found no traces of him anywhere. But then the chair that she's sitting in seems to smile, and it's like a shapeshifter chair.
Yeah, it's just like a 10% more perverted plastic man.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem like we see this guy throughout the rest of the series again. They never catch the ghostly goose, do they?
No, they never catch him.
No, he's out there somewhere.
It's a multi-season arc.
Yeah. All right, issue number 8 here. We got Lieutenant Peregrine. She's a bird. She's flying to work. She's not like a bird the way Dog Cop is a dog. She's just like, she's like Hawk Girl.
Peregrine.
Peregrine Girl. She's flying to work, but there's been like a teleportation incident. Multiple things have teleported in the same place, and it's created a bit of an issue. This guy and his sidekick have kind of like crashed into a gamer. He's a giant gamer is what it is. That's what they call him. He's like a big minotaur looking dude who's like lying there on the ground dying. He's like, you must inform the Gray Scorekeeper The immense board of lights must be adjusted. And this other guy's like, your game doesn't matter, man. They don't know it, but they're like merged into each other. Like one guy is stuck inside the giant guy, and his sidekick is dead, like merged into a plane. So Peregrine's dealing with all that. We've still got the Seven Sentinels. They're still trying to free Mergla Qualtz is her name, the Libra killer. Jackie Kowalski, who brought her in, the lesbian cop, she's there. She's using the Libra killer is trying to use her seductive telepathic powers on her, and she's like, "Don't fucking do that! I'll kill you." While the Sentinels are watching, they're like, "See, she can't stay here. It's dangerous here." Dwayne's mom is the. We haven't even talked about Dwayne. Dwayne is like the cowboy cop. He's pretty cool. His partner Pete is a shithead.
The huge racist.
He's a huge racist. Like he's just bad at everything. Shock-headed Peter, I think is his name. He's got like a big electrical rig around him. But Dwayne is like a cowboy cop, a little bit old-timey. His mom has been living with him because she had the mouse problem that Yvette is taking care of. Let's see. There's a top 10 video game that's out there as well. This seems to go nowhere. I'm not going to talk about it. We got Sergeant Corbeau. We haven't mentioned him, a.k.a. King Peacock. There was a drug deal that happened in the first 5 issues that kind of ended mysteriously. This big villain like committed suicide so that he wouldn't give out any information, but they found this off-world ticket at the drug ring, so King Peacock is investigating it. Let's see. Peregrine is hanging out at this teleportation thing and realizes that one of the bystanders who got hurt was not a night porter. He was a night apostrophe porter, a teleporter. And he's an unlicensed teleporter. And he's what caused this whole thing. So they arrest him. Then we see King Peacock shows up at Grand Central Station where he's preparing to go to a different dimension. There's a big old sign there that says Vacation on Infinite Earths that I like.
So many cameos on that page.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've like looking at this thing forever and just seeing what all's on here.
Yeah, like I saw Age of Apocalypse. Like there's Rogue, Sabretooth, and a couple others. There's the original cast of Star Trek. There's Morpheus from Sandman, and it looks like Nightmare is next to him. There's a lot of people.
A lot of people here. That's what I'm saying. This whole thing is like you could reread this again and just kind of like stare at all the pictures and find little things everywhere. Especially these big splash pages. Yeah, he's getting ready to tell.
Also, just the main joke, Vacation on Infinite Earths, is actually pretty funny.
I like it. Yeah, just what else we got? Peregrine is hanging out with these victims. The one guy who was like teleported into the other guy's body he's like just mad. He's pissed. He's yelling about everything while the gamer is just kind of spouting some, wisdom of sorts. And they end up kind of getting along, getting some good wisdom. It ends up being a pretty nice scene as they both die.
Yeah, this is the speech that is, people have pointed out, almost exactly what Matthew McConaughey says at the end of the first season of True Detective.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that. Yes. That's neat.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess just the writer thought it was cool.
I guess so. Huh. I want to watch True Detective again now. True Detective and The Shield and The Wire. We're all going to watch all 3. All right, so on to issue number 9. Dwayne and Pete are meeting with the exterminator. The robot kids upstairs are still playing their music too loud. And this shithead Pete, he calls them clickers. That's like the derogatory slang for robot people. Clickers. I don't like it. The exterminator has run into some complications with the mice problem, though. There are more science animals that have shown up. It's turned into a whole Secret Crisis War crossover with the mice. I wrote this line down because I liked it. It's difficult keeping up with cross-continuity, but I think Cosmouse just gave the Saturnian Scrap Hunter his ultimate pacifier to use against Galactopus. That's a good line. As they are driving back, Pete sees Annette, the hooker who asked out Dog Cop. They're making out. Dog Cop and the lady. They're making out on the street. He seems a little bit disgusted by it. He doesn't seem very accepting of this. Libra, what's her name? Mergula, is talking to the captain, summoned him with a telepathic email. She says, hey, I think I'm going to be killed soon, and I think it's going to be the Sentinels that do it to me. And she tells the captain, like, hey, if I was lying to you, if I wanted to embarrass you or whatever, I would just tell everyone that you're gay. Captain's gay. King Peacock arrives in another Grand Central Station in a different dimension. I like that in front of him, some woman is complaining about her kid turning into a fly. I did like that detail before he was kind of getting into the teleporter, that they were always like telling everyone, like, check yourself for flies and bugs or anything else. But I like this angry woman. It's like, yes, I checked his clothes for bugs. This is your fault. In this world, the Roman Empire never fell. But as they say, in your world, the Roman Empire did fall. That's what's messed up. He meets some cops who were told that he was coming. They're all racist here, too. They're surprised to see that he's Nubian, they call him, because on their world, Nubians are mostly slaves. Okay. We haven't mentioned the two-faced receptionist at the precinct. She's got a face on the front and a face on the back, and sometimes they fight, but they are sisters. I think I don't remember when it was, but in one of the issues, one of them is nursing a hangover from a date they had with their boyfriends the night before. What is it? King Peacock is like, oh yeah, I think my receptionist is from this world, and they're like, oh yeah, I think she got fired. And they're like, what? That never really comes back around. Let's see. They meet Centurion Midas, who keeps calling him a champion. He's like, why are you calling me champion? And they're like, oh, well, you're going to represent Precinct 10 at this year's circus. They're going to make him fight in a big Roman arena. He thinks there's been some kind of a mistake. He's asking for a phone call to straighten things out. He's not and they're like, well, you're not a prisoner, so you don't get a phone call. You're a combatant. But that doesn't seem right. I'll go check on that for you. So they put him in a room with the other combatants. He meets a dino robot from Precinct 7. Pretty cool guy. Kowalski and Sin have a little relationship talk. Kowalski thinks that Peregrine is hot, but she's a born-again Christian, and she's married, so that's not going to work. Sin kind of has a thing for King Peacock, but he's married with kids, so yeah. Sergeant Hector is going out to meet Annette. Peacock has to fight a giant stone woman in his first round. She's pretty racist too. He crumples her. She goes falling into the stands, crushing people, I'm sure. We haven't mentioned his powers are that he can talk to Satan. He's a Satanist. Okay.
And he seems to have the power that what's his name on the Inhumans has, where he just finds weak points.
Yeah. Karnak, is that his name?
That sounds right.
Let's see. He learns that everything beyond the quarterfinals is going to be to the death, and he still has no phone call. Sin is getting worried because she hasn't heard from King Peacock. She goes to the captain, and he says he'll call to figure it out. Peacock has to fight his robot dinosaur friend in the next round, and does so easily. Irma and Girl 1 are going to work. Irma's husband seems to have a premonition. He's like, oh God, please, not Irma. Uh-oh. Her husband is a precog. He's out of work. An out-of-work precog because it's hard for precogs to find work. Fair.
I liked all the cameos in the Rome stuff was even sillier because it wasn't superhero. So you had Marvin the Martian is in the audience, and there's others just random. There's Asterisk and
I did see that, yeah.
So it's more just cartoons than superhero stuff.
So many little gags around all this. All right, let's see. On to issue 10, we got Smacks and Toy Boxer at a club. There's a dead body. It's a love bar written by Mr. Wiz, who's an overweight Flash character. Little weird ghosts are flying around the body. We learned that he was on a drug that manifests pixies even after he's dead. These pixies are kind of hanging around.
The hallucinations are still there despite the host. They're real to other people too. That's really cool.
That is weird. But he's been shot in the back of the head. It seems like someone was trying to make it look like a suicide, but didn't do well. And they realized that this is the same rock star boy band kid that got pulled in before.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Grant something.
And there was also like
Garland,
a news
Clint
article. There's like a radio thing last issue that he was going to release like memoirs or something that were going to be damaging to the the Justice League equivalents.
yeah,
The
the Sentinels. Oh.
Yeah, and this is the one that it says like no suicide shoots themselves in the back of the head.
Yep. Let's see. The captain is getting ready for the commissioner's visit. They've kind of been talking about this a little bit, but routine inspection. He's also dealing with the Murgla Qualt stuff. So Captain Caesar or Sergeant Caesar comes in for some advice. He's worried that people won't approve of his friend's relationship. And the captain is like, I can speak to that a little.
He does that real subtle thing, like
Real subtle.
If I had like a friend that made me like a dog that was like gonna date like a human, like a friend, not me though. Is that cool?
Yeah. Yeah, like, oh, that's good advice. I'm gonna go tell my friend. See if that's like, let's see. Smacks and Toybox come back. They're detaining the Pixies in hopes that someone can question them before they disappear. Let's see. The receptionist got a call from Irma's husband, the precog, who's worried about something. The commissioner teleports into the station. She's also racist and rude. She wants to see the forensic science department. She does not really care about anything else, but that department is locked because of the radioactive material that they confiscated from that drug deal. They go to the canteen to get the keys from, what's the guy's name? Spider Wolf? One of those guys. He's got the keys. Sin, who was at the original thing with the murder of one of those people at the drug deal, she heard some music there that she sensed, and she's been kind of looking for it ever since. And she's sitting there humming to herself, and all of a sudden she has a weird feeling. She asks the commissioner about her perfume, and she's like, "Oh, you can't afford it. It's called Joy." But as they're leaving, Sin stands up and says, "All right, Commissioner Ultima, I'm placing you under arrest for the murder of that guy," and tells the captain it's the same music she smelled on the victim. That she was the off-world drug customer, and that's why she's trying to get back into that room to get those narcotics, and that's why they were tipped off when the raid happened. And the commissioner goes into attack mode. Girl 1, who we have not talked about much this issue, but she jumps in front of the blast and blocks the shot, and she's basically dead now. Irma's crying over her body and kind of goes ballistic, but the negotiator calms her down before she goes nuclear. Smacks asks for permission to use extreme force, so they have some big old fight blasts through walls. They accidentally break open the Libra killer's tube. And Murgla looks at the commissioner and realizes, oh, she's the one. And the commissioner blasts Murgla and kills her. The others are all watching the fight, figuring out what to do. They're both too strong. Maybe give her the Zenite she wants and she'll calm down. And they're like, okay, maybe just inject it directly into her neck to see what that does. So they do. And she kind of goes a little crazy for a bit. Toy Box puts up a shield. She's standing right next to her. She's going to explode. And she gets caught under some rubble. But yeah, they did kill the commissioner. And yeah, everyone's just kind of talking about, holy shit, what just happened? Who's dead? What's going on? And we hear all these voices while Toy Box is stuck under all this rubble. And we've also heard characters about a character called The Rumor, who everyone kind of thinks is a myth, but he comes down and talks to Robin under there. He doesn't really come back with the other issue, so I won't talk much about him.
Yep. Not explained in this series.
Nope.
So like this issue, like I said, the thing I like about the show, this book, is that like there's like several different cases happening at once and blah 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 blah. You know, it's like, and it's not very linear, but like I really do like this issue. I feel like this is like the most straightforward issue of the book. It's like, we've got like, oh, actually the commissioner's the bad guy, and the commissioner's just gonna like superhero ruin this building, and we've got to stop them. It's not a cop book at this point. it's just a straight superhero book. But damn it if it isn't really good. I guess Alan Moore's a good writer and Gene Haas is a good writer.
I guess so. No, but it is good. Like when a storyline is kind of coming to a head, he lets it take focus, and nothing else is on any sort of timeline, right? Like we see these mice maybe every other issue,
right?
That kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, and even then, I thought like the whole like commissioner death was, or the commissioner fight was like the whole issue. But like as we're recapping this, I'm like, oh, half of this is still like the Glenn Garland guy, the boy band guy dying, and a few other things that are still happening in this book. It's just the back half of the issue. It's all that the commissioner stuff.
Yeah. I just love the way like Smacks is written. Like he's such a like perfect character in that you don't know exactly how strong he is, but like he's just ready to like throw down with literally everyone. To where he's just like standing there and just like, hey Captain, do I have permission to try to kill her?
Yeah, we did skip over one of the things. I think that was your line, Chris, from the Balder murders, where I don't remember who's getting in his face, but he just tries to start a fight with one of the gods. Yeah,
Thor, of course.
Yeah.
Is like drunkenly arguing with him, and he's just like smacks him, and then Odin's like, "It's okay, my son is, as you call him, a butthole."
Yeah.
And then later, Odin's like, "I have half a mind to unleash Ragnarok and end all times." And he's like, "You do that, I'll bring you in."
That was a good line. Yeah.
It's just so funny. He's just like, "No, you're under arrest." Like he's just like, and he's such a meathead. I love Smacks. He's the best.
All right, so on to issue 11. We are meeting.
Especially, I was gonna say, I think it's issue 12. We learn Smacks is a name he gave himself.
Yeah. I love his real name too, and that nobody can figure out. It's Jeff Smacks. All right, so we're meeting our new hire to replace Girl 1, who died in the last issue. They're bringing him in from Parallel Universe number 9. The captain says it's an interesting place over there, bold social experiment. This first scene is from the new hire's point of view, so we haven't seen him either. But we finally see him during the briefing. He's Joe Pye, a Voltron-looking robot who's from Turingville, which is a cyber-governed parallel world, a world full of robots. They've partnered him with Irma to replace Girl 1. She doesn't seem to like it. She's a little about it. We also learn at the briefing that a new commissioner is going to be appointed. There's a funeral planned for Girl 1 later this afternoon. King Peacock has been released from the other universe. They had kind of planned that runaround for him. The commissioner wanted him stuck there. Also, he's won an interdepartmental gladiatorial championship for Precinct 10. Hooray!
Off screen, he killed whoever else was left, I guess.
And then the sergeant also says, I've got a letter here addressed to a Maxon. Does anyone know a Maxon? No one says anything. So, but Smacks comes up afterwards. He's like, he didn't want to have been in front of everyone, but that's him. Jaffs Maxon, that's his name, which he changed to Jeff Smacks. Cool. Irma and Joe, the new robot, are they asked them to accompany Pete and Dwayne to a homicide. I think this is like the Reed Richards guy that we saw in the first 5 issues. But he's been flattened somehow. Joe is talking about having feelings with Irma. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry your partner died." She's like, "Are you really sorry, or is that just how you're programmed to feel?" And he's like, "Well, do you feel things for any other reason?" There's some robot bystanders making fun of the robot cop, and he has some pretty quick like one-liners to reply back with that they don't get. And really, the robot cop is able to handle the situation perfectly. Instantly identifies cause of death, calms down the widow, consoles her really well. And the other 3 cops are just like, "Oh, okay, I guess we're done." Peacock's family is waiting for him with Sin at the precinct. The kids are happy to see this big trophy he's won. Toy Box is recovering in the hospital. She'll be out next week. Smacks tells her about a letter he got from home about how his Uncle Mac died. Let's see. Shithead Pete, he's got a lot of problems with this robot. He is, we already knew he was a racist, But they confront him. Pete is like, "Oh, these robots! I hear they like human women. They're gonna take our jobs." And he confronts him. He's like, "Hey, what is this? Is it true that you robots like human women?" And he's like, "Well, I think it's more common the other way around." He's like, "What? You got any proof of that?" And Pete is pulling like a soda or something out of a vending machine, and Joe says, "Well, hey, you're the one feeling up my cousin right now." And he goes, "Wait, whoa, what?" And everyone shares a laugh at his expense. Kowalski is telling the captain that she and Peregrine were looking at the Rockstar Kids file. And they learned that he's not just in a boy band called the Sidekicks. He was a real sidekick. He used to work for one of the Seven Sentinels. And that Mergla Quoltz was also one of them. And the captain is like, yeah, she admitted to me that she told me they might want to kill her. She told me that if anything happened to her, that I should check out her show reel and ask the Chicken Supers. And Kowalski's like, ooh, that's like pedo slang for junior sidekicks. Yeah, yikes. At the funeral, the scientists who bioengineered Girl 1 are there.
And the Richie Rich who funded it. His name is Mickey Millions.
Mickey Millions. And they're like, yeah, we made her. That's why she was stacked like Laura Croft. So how did she do? Did you think her tits should have been bigger, smaller? That is not appropriate funeral. I don't know. It was weird.
So Laura Croft exists in this universe? Yeah, PlayStation 1s?
Sure.
So here's another thing that happened. I don't know, like the first 5 issues, reading those, I definitely saw some, there was like a Steven Spielberg reference. There was reference to like, different movie stars or things like that. There was a lot of that throughout all this book because it is still 1999 in this world. It's not like the future. It's just like alternate universe where a lot of this stuff still existed somehow. Probably in a different form,
Yeah, I mean, I guess like USC Film School still exists in some capacity, right? And there's still video game maker IDOS, I guess, in some capacity.
All that, yes. Well, maybe a different company made it in this universe, But
I mean, if Steven Spielberg exists, he makes Indiana Jones, which then prompts people to make an Indiana Jones like with a female protagonist, Tomb Raider, I guess.
Close enough,
sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or Laura Croft's just a completely different character. Like, she's also just a large-breasted video game protagonist. She doesn't have to be Tomb Raider necessarily. They don't say that.
Yeah, we don't actually know who Laura Croft is in this universe. She could be anybody.
She could be a swimsuit model. We don't honestly know. I don't think they say the video game. Okay. Interesting.
So let's see. We got the funeral ends. They all kind of go. The robot Joe, he's been waiting at the car, and Irma's like, "Oh, I guess she didn't mean enough for you to be there." And he's like, "Well, I thought you'd be offended by me being there." And she's like, She realizes he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. And it's like, all right, you're okay. Takes him home to meet the family. Joe greets his husband by saying, "Hey, I know you're out of work. You should know precogs are still legal in physics research." And then he does a pop his own head off trick for the kids. Hooray! And then we end seeing Smacks giving his dad a bath. I think that's his dad.
Robin's dad, who was dealing with Alzheimer's.
Oh, he's been helping. Okay, that makes sense. More sense. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's why he says you don't even have a dad. He's like,
yes.
Okay, I don't, because his uncle who raised him just died. So he's kind of like hurt by that in a way. He's surprised by. I also love the scene we skipped over where he visits Robin in the hospital, and he's like, "Hey, I know you said the rumor was like a joke in the precinct, but I met him." And he's like, "No, like I was told he was a joke unless everybody was messing with me, but that can't be it. You were probably hallucinating."
Yeah. He is also, I like that he's all beaten up from his fight last time. He's not 100% invulnerable.
Yep. Also a lot of very funny gags. Did you notice any of these events in this issue? There were a handful I wanted to point out, or like 3 I wanted to point out real quick.
Not explicitly, no.
On this page with Robin and Sam at the hospital. Sam, as he leaves her room, there's people are taking away 2 what do you call those? I guess just the stretchers, and one of them has just a metal skeleton, and one of them has it looks like a bag of flesh with distinctive Wolverine hair.
Oh, I love it.
I didn't even notice the Wolverine hair. I noticed these bodies, and I was like, "Is this a gag I'm not getting?" And I didn't look closely enough. And I kept going.
Yeah, it's a Wolverine reference. There's also the doctor is wandering by in the hospital at one point, and then whenever Irma is talking to Joe in the car, they cut to outside as they're driving to like a worse part of town. You see the Powerpuff Girls flying beside their car.
What? Hold on, I gotta find that. Where are these power? Oh, they are the power. Well, not exactly. Isn't there? There's a green.
They looked so weird. They had such weird. I did clock that. I didn't realize that those were the Powerpuff Girls. I was like, Gene Kaha cannot draw children. Like their proportions were. They're like little buff babies. Like they're not exactly John Burns buff babies, but they're close.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a little bit of trying to do like the chibi huge heads.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Now that explains a lot more. Because I was like, what the fuck is going on? Yes, that okay.
Yep.
Now knowing that's the Powerpuff Girls, that makes more sense.
Definitely. All right, on to issue number 12, which is a little bit of a bigger issue. Peregrine and Kowalski are going through all the tapes that Murgla's agent gave them. There's a lot of like promotional footage for the Seven Sentinels. They recognize Saturn in the background, but it just looks like a backdrop. And they're like, oh, why would they need a backdrop when they have all these cool space adventures? And Kowalski's like, wait a minute. All their missions are in space or in another dimension or a universe or whatever. What's actually going on? And they pop in the next tape, which seems to be some kind of sex tape. Dwayne's mom calls him over because there's some exterminator at his place who's asking him for money. And she doesn't know anything about that. And Dwayne's like, I don't know anything about that. the exterminator is like, yeah, you do. Your mom's been living at your place forever while I take care of it. And he's like, no, she's living right here. And they look in there and the apartment's all fine. And the exterminator is like, oh, I know what's happening. This crossover secret crisis that they're all wrapped up in must have altered time itself. All right, well, I still have to get paid here. And they're like, we're not paying you. Get the fuck out of here, crazy. And he's like, oh, these little bastards are always pulling shit like this. How am I supposed to live? And then Pete stuns him, and they start taking him to the precinct. Poor guy. That was that was a long run to get to that gag, but man, was it good.
It's so funny.
I really like that whole runner, the whole runner of that, the mice and the cosmic cats.
Yeah, I love how serious the picture of Galactopus with his like ultimate pacifier or whatever. I'm like, this is so good.
Let's see. Joe, the robot, picks up Irma for work. They are late getting ready for work because she and her husband have been fucking. But she wakes up and she like kind of shouts down to Joe and the kids like, "Oh, we overslept." And the kids are like, "But you've been upstairs making noises all morning." And Joe covers from them well, and he's like, "Oh, Irma, I hope you haven't been overdoing it on those strenuous police exercises they make us do." Yeah, he's good. And then Irma's husband is like, "Oh, by the way, Joe, I have good news." And he's like, "You got a job at the physics place?" And he's like, "Yeah." You know, he put two and two together. They were celebration fucking. Let's see. Peregrine fills in everyone at the briefing about what they figured out. That Glenn Garland, the boy band guy that got murdered because he was going to tell his story. That story was from, his Seven Sentinels days. They contacted the Trans-Solar Registry and found out that none of the Seven Sentinels foes existed. If they did exist, they were nobodies and not even like big villains or other people took them down. And basically they're like, we think the Seven Sentinels are just like a pedophile ring, which is, and fucking Pete, shithead Pete, is still like, oh, these kids are probably making up allegations. And Peregrine's like, no, the kids have not alleged anything. We have it on tape. And the captain has approved us taking them down. So they all start suiting up with special weapons to take out their particular powers and things like that. Like, oh, these black radiation cannons will work on the Scarlet Scepter, but not on Atom Man. And they all kind of go out. They split up into teams to take them all down. One team pretty quickly busts Sun Woman. Let's see, Sergeant Caesar and Spider-Wolf and the hostage negotiator and the telepath go to Sentinel Spire. And they find, they've learned that 4 of them are there at the building right then. The doorman or whoever is like, oh, we're not doing recruiting right now, but you can come back on Thursdays for the tour. But they use their mind control powers to kind of stop him from notifying anyone. Go ahead.
I do appreciate that the Seven Sentinels version of Aquaman just looks like Popeye.
He does kind of look like Popeye. And see, on their way in through the building, they meet a couple of young superhero sidekicks with towels on, apparently about to spend some time with the older heroes. One of them is telling the other one, like, oh, these 4 aren't so bad. It's the other 2 that are a lot more mean. One of them, the cops come in and recognize one of them from one of the earlier cases. Her partner is the one who got killed in the drug bust. And they're like, what are you doing here? And she's like, I had nowhere else to go. What am I supposed to do? Just be a sidekick. They keep going through, and they find...
And you liked Boots and Saddle when we first covered them, Kia, by the way.
She was a pretty good character. On hard times.
Yeah. It's amazing how quickly things turn.
Things turn. Yeah, the other cops later, when they hear about the Sin in particular, is like, I thought I really got through to her. Like, she went back to them. Like, let's see. They go through. They find the 4 of the old men: Kingfisher, Scepter, Boomerang, and Davy Jones. They're like in a hot tub. They've got a whole pool there. They're just hanging out. Like, this is the life, relaxing.
Named Davy Jones and looks like Popeye. That's a great character.
Yeah. But all their stuff is in lockers. They're powerless. It's easy enough to take them in. Dwayne and Pete are off to get Lomax. He's the Batman guy, the Hound. Pete is still defending this guy as they go off to get him. Like, oh, look how expensive this place is. This guy's old money. This doesn't seem right. And then the butler doesn't want to let them in. But Pete, I also don't understand Pete. He's also a hothead. He barges in. He's like, you're gonna let us in. It's our job. He gets whacked by the butler with a vase that's filled with water, like a flower vase. His whole electric system gets shorted out. Dwayne wrestles some info out of the butler. He goes down into a secret room, looking for the Hound. It's like a Batcave kind of deal. The Hound Cave, I assume. Sees the Hound mobile driving towards him, shoots at it, and it crashes into everything, and he's got him. Smacks and a cop. He names a cop. I didn't even write her name down because I haven't heard her mentioned. But it's like me and Officer blah blah blah, Jenny McCambridge. I flipped through real quick here. I don't know who Jenny McCambridge is.
She's the one who can make copies of herself. She was in the traffic accident case. She was in maybe it was the Santa issue. She was in one of the issues doing cleanup.
Okay. Yes, I do. No, it's the snow issue. They're making her like use fire or whatever to clean up all the snow. Okay.
Yeah, she's the one who can make like copies of herself. Okay. She's not an important. Just like the guy that almost got seduced by the alien. They're not.
Yeah,
important.
She's not important. He's not important either. And this Smacks and Jenny picking up their guy. It's one panel. They were like, yeah, we got him. He was at a grocery store shopping. It was pretty easy. He heads over to help with Wallace, aka Atom Man, who I guess is the strongest. I don't know why they wouldn't just send Smacks over to him first. Let's see. The captain also wants to send Peacock and Sin to take the young Sentinels into custody before anyone warns Atom Man that they're coming. Scorchy is one of the young Sentinels that's there. She's the one that they saw a tape of. And Sin kind of notices as they're taking them into protective custody that her energy is like glowing like crazy.
That Supergirl equivalent.
Yeah. And she is sending a psychic message to Atom Man saying, Uncle Craig, they're coming for you. And we see him sitting in his big Fortress of Solitude or whatever going, oh crap. Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. And he looks out the window and he sees them out there and he's like, oh crap. Smacks shows up at they don't call it the Fortress of Solitude, but it's made of impregnium.
Yes, it's the fallout shelter because he's Adam Man.
Yes, yeah. And Smacks tries to blast a way in, but it blasts him right back. Joe, the robot, figures out a way to kind of connect to the systems in there and communicate with him over intercom. And he says, Adam Man, there's no way for you to go out with dignity. You're either going to get depowered and put in jail with all the criminals who know that you're a sex offender, or you're going to get killed. There's no way for you to go out with dignity.
Or you're just going to be locked up in here, which is basically prison.
Yeah. And like kind of subtly, without saying it, like hints to him that his only way out is to kill himself, and gets him to kill himself. I kind of like that this robot breaks the rules. At one point earlier, when him and Irma are about to break through, he's like, "Oh no, I seem to have accidentally turned off my video recording feature. So if anything were to accidentally happen to him and he got hurt, then no one would know about it." I like this robot character a lot. Let's see. So yeah, I think that's the last guy. That's all 7 of them. They're all down. Smacks goes to the hospital to tell Toybox about the whole thing. She's going to be out tomorrow, but she's still off work for a month. And Smacks, basically without asking, mentions that he's got to go to his uncle's funeral back home, and it's kind of weird going back home alone. And she's like, "Yeah, I'll go with you." Annette and Sergeant Caesar are having dinner at a restaurant. She's like, I'll try not to get myself sent home this time. And he's like, "Sorry, I just, want to make sure this isn't like a sex thing because I really like you and you're not just like, horny for dogs." And it's a weird but sweet moment, basically just saying like it is about love. Okay, cool. Captain goes home to his husband, talks about the job. Kind of like worries a little bit because like we met forever ago. I was 16 and you were 24 when we met, but then he's like, well, the difference is like we were in love. It was consensual. Which, weird note to end on, but okay. That's the end. Hooray. I do remember, Vincent, you were asking, the 49ers does focus a decent bit on him kind of meeting his husband and falling in love from their original superhero team. That's it. The Hooray Top 10. I think we got most of it in there. There was a lot in that last issue. What'd I miss?
But are they ever going to catch the ghostly goose?
The ghostly goose. We didn't catch the ghostly goose. I don't know. There is not really a season 2, but there's like a follow-up miniseries.
There's an explicit
someone else
2.
wrote. Oh, there is?
Yeah, so I have this big collected edition that I bought. So it's got Top 10 1 through 12, Smacks 1 through 5, the 49ers, which is a one-shot, like I think longer graphic novel. Top 10 Beyond the Farthest Precinct 1 through 5, Top 10 Season 2 1 through 4, and Season 2 Special number 1.
Oh. Did Alan Moore do Season 2?
No.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't matter.
I remember the reviews were on Amazon were like, "That's quite wild. They're putting that in there. That's interesting." I don't know what kind of shenanigans happened.
Alan Moore just did the Smacks mini and the 49ers one-shot thing.
Oh, so he didn't do Farthest Precinct or?
No.
Yeah, he just did 49ers and Smacks.
But yeah. Anyways, it's got more serious in terms of the story and the crimes here than what I was expecting for all of it. But overall, it is still just like a great comic, and it did a good job of never sympathizing with the bad guys, other than shithead Pete, who was just a shithead. And I always appreciate that.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. It's a good trick that Alan Moore does, that because like Peregrine, we haven't really talked too much about her character, but she is like a religious, she's very hardcore religious. She gets upset when like Jackie Phantom talks about all the girls she wants to kiss, or says Jesus, uses the Lord's name in vain. And it's just like the kind of character that in real life I would find just incredibly irritating. But it's like, yeah, but in the context of this book, I like, and the same with Irma. Like Irma is like explicitly like she has a nuclear reactor or whatever. Like she loves guns. She has like, right-wing messaging like written on her in terms of like how she loves the Second Amendment. So I'm just like, yeah, I would not like these people, but only Shockhead Peter. Am I like, no, I hate him.
Yeah.
The rest of these cops, I'm like, no, I understand. Would I want to be their best friend? No, but they're good cops, except for him. He sucks.
Yeah, he sucks. Vince, any thoughts? I guess we haven't done final thoughts necessarily, but yeah.
It's a weird book. I really very much enjoyed reading this the whole time I was reading. I was pretty quiet this episode. It's a lot going on.
It's a lot.
I think it's a pretty good book. I think I remember like the first half I was kind of like in over my head. In the issue 10 years ago, so I'm glad I re-listened to it. Like there's a lot going on. Like, who do I focus on? What am I supposed to focus on? And just kind of like letting the world just kind of wash over me, and knowing there's like a lot of weird gags. The cat and mouse thing was a great runner throughout the whole thing. I really enjoyed that. I liked the Loki Balder case. I liked the commissioner being evil case. I liked the robot asking, like, do you know about the 3 laws of robotics? Cool, you don't know? Cool, I'm going to convince this guy to kill himself. Excellent. I think it's a really, like, I was like, oh, I like this robot dude. So by the end of it, I'm like, I like a lot of these characters. I think what's dissatisfying sometimes with a big ensemble like this, I'm like, I didn't see my shark lawyer that I loved at all. The dog cop didn't really get that much to do in the back half here.
I mean, he fell in love.
He fell in love, but like at the same time, I'm like, I felt like he was kind of like the boss of the precinct in the previous arc, and now he's like, because of rankings, like obviously he's not. He's the sergeant. He's not the chief. But I'm like, for like economy of storytelling, I would have just had him be the same character for the role. But I understand like you don't need to do that, so that's not a huge beef with me. But like, I think it's a lot. There's a lot going on. Gene Ha's art is pretty good across the board. And it's a lot. I don't know. It was hard for me to latch on to characters, but I think the world and the plots were overwhelmed that to make it a good book for me.
Yeah, I loved it too here. Chris, we haven't really done your final thoughts, but you said you've read this a million times. We know you love it. Anything else to say about it?
Yeah, like I said, I love it. I do, as much as I love Joe Pye, his like and the whole like plot being like revealing a secret cabal of pedophiles does read slightly differently in 2025 than it read in like 2006 or whenever I read it the first time, or 2015 when I read it for a podcast 10 years ago, where you're just like, that's weird. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's trying to say anything about, the police state or anything like that. I think it's more about cop shows that he's kind of riffing on. But I think it's a lot of fun. I do think it's a shame that Smacks is good. And the 49ers is good, but it's a shame that like he basically then never writes anything for it again. And I think almost all of the other stuff that I read for it, I remember reading Beyond the Farthest Precinct, and it was like, it made me feel gross. I was like, I don't like this at all.
Was it like The Boys or something? I feel like this could venture into The Boys territory, like Grant.
Very easily,
not Grant Morrison. What is it? Grant Ennis.
Garth Ennis.
Garth Ennis. Thank you. I'm like this is this close to becoming The Boys sometimes. Both the TV, it could go towards the TV show, could go towards the comic, could go good or bad. But I think it straddles that line very well.
Yeah, I think like The Boys was very gratuitous, whereas this book never is. Which I do, and it is kind of going back to it. Like, it does sit a little differently in this day and age. But it also does feel consistent with Alan Moore in terms of like, okay, superpowered people, let me write about the real evil shit that you would see people do with superpowers that other comics aren't writing about, which I can, I get that. But yeah, still weird. All right. Are we done with top 10? Anything else to say about it? I kind of think I will read the Smacks miniseries. I read the 49ers forever ago, and I loved it. I might even reread that too. But I think I've just come to realize I think the ABC stuff is some of my favorite Alan Moore stuff. There's just like, I mean, his Swamp Thing is obviously great. We've been reading a bunch of that. Are we done with Swamp Thing?
We got one more volume.
One more. That'll be coming up soon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And yeah,
well,
we've never done what, Tom Strong?
We
I guess
did
is the
one issue of Tom Strong. We did like an Eisner award-winning like single issues episode again, like in our first or second year. And so we picked a Tom Strong that won like best single issue, but that's all we've done.
Yeah, we did his Promethea.
Which was for a time was like our most downloaded episode. It was Promethea.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So maybe we should go back to that.
Yeah. We did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, just the first one, I think. But we never did more Tom Strong. What is Tomorrow Stories?
I don't know. We did 1963.
That's the other. Tomorrow Stories is like an anthology series.
But it was still all him?
Yes.
All Alan Moore? Oh, okay.
I remember it being the worst of his ABC stuff.
Oh.
Unless you count like the after League of Extraordinary Gentlemen got like super crazy.
Yeah. And then Albion. I don't think I've ever even heard of Albion.
That sounds like British, like King Arthur stuff.
It does sound like that, Vince.
It does have like a British flag on the cover. Something like that. Alan Moore is British. Wouldn't put it past him. All right. I think we're on to Thunderbolts now. Anything else to say about Top 10 or Alan Moore or The Wire or The Shield?
No, but
it's great. It's probably slightly ahead of Gotham Central for my favorite like police procedural comic. Gotham Central also great. It has some moments that I think are just as good as this, but I think this is more consistent.
I would agree with that. I don't know. I don't remember a lot of other precinct comics.
Well, they should make more because those two are really good.
What about Powers by Brian Michael Bendis? I know you love him.
Yeah, I was thinking about Powers. Powers is much more focused just on like the main two detectives, though. It's Walker and Dina.
I'm not opposed to Powers. I just don't think it's quite the same.
I also think Powers is going to hold up. I liked it 20 years ago.
I would say that like the amount of content you get in an issue of of Powers is probably equal to like 5 panels in Top 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like this book is dense and Powers is not.
Yeah, that's the other thing is there's so much in Top 10 to go back, and even if you're just looking like at not the weird little stuff that's not on the where the text is or where the characters are, there's always Easter eggs. Like the God Bar has a lot of very funny graffiti on the walls.
Yeah.
Like there's so much stuff packed into them.
My weirdest biggest problem with this book is that everybody's wearing costume. And it's a weird thing. Like the commissioner shows up and she's in like full costume, not like a uniform, not casual clothes. She's like in a skin tight uniform with a cape when she's showing up to like her normal like daily audit, which is very weird to me. It's not even like branded like part of the police force. I don't love that. What I do love about like Gotham Central's art is that everybody, even the villains, are drawn to be like very like mundane clothing and fashion, and I get
that, but it's like it's a comic, like and they're in like superhero world, and so like you want every picture to know, oh, is that this detective or like there's like 3 Dominican women characters, which one is this? Like you want to like instantly know, like no, it's King Peacock. He has the like has a big feathered headdress and weird pants.
Yeah, you don't want Smacks in like a V-neck sweater, and then like
I don't
kind of keeping her wings underneath something.
Because again, as much as I like Gotham Central, there are like 5 white guys where I'm like, which white guy is that?
I know, I do. Yeah. There is like a little chart at the front of every issue that's like it's this white guy with the short haircut, not this one with also the short haircut,
or this one with the slightly redder hair.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think we're on to Thunderbolts now.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people tuning in because Thunderbolts comes out this week, the movie.
Oh, that's right.
And so they want to know all about the Thunderbolts. So here we are. to give
Oh
them.
boy,
I'm sure this is what the movie's gonna be.
it's gonna be this issue. The whole movie, I think, is focused on this issue.
Yeah, the,
Fighting
the team
Graviton.
the team led by Black Widow 2 and her dad, with Bucky and U.S. Agent and the Sentry. And
Yeah.
They're gonna fight Graviton. You watch.
that would be pretty dope.
They already did Graviton on the Agents of Shield TV show. We're mentioning both Shield TV shows here. I feel like it was a season-long arc where he was the villain of the whole season. I don't think it was. He was like a freak of the week. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And I feel like I don't want to spoil too much. We'll talk more about what Graviton like later here, and I'll talk about what happens on the Shield show. All right. So the Thunderbolts are still fighting the Hulk from the last issue, but they've just learned that it's a robot Hulk. The crowd in this small town is filming, and they're like, "Hey, it's a robot. This must be another Thunderbolt scam."
I do like that. Oh, I do also like that Kurt Busiek does mention Shield once again here, and then they do say it, and then Tom Brevoort says Strategic Hazard Intervention Espionage Logistics Directorate. Got to say it once again.
Yep, always got to say it.
Well, it's a good running joke.
So they're still fighting the Hulk robot, but the robot keeps absorbing their energy, and they realize it's like storing a bunch of energy and going to get overloaded, and they need to back off. But then the lightning rods fly into the rescue.
The GLA.
Mach 1 tries to convince them to stay back, and they're like, "What? Fuck you. No, we're getting yeah."
Remember when you stole our costumes like an hour ago?
Come on, man. So this Hulk robot is craving energy, and Moonstone is filled with it. So he jumps up and crashes down to the ground. The Hulk like absorbs a ton of energy and then explodes or something, and Moonstone's in agony, and he disappears. And in his place, Graviton shows up. The lightning rods recognize him. They're like, "This isn't good." Zemo in Mexico is watching all this from his castle. He's like, "This is a win-win. I got them to release Graviton back to Earth, and if he kills him, great. If not, the public now don't trust them. Great." And they're talking about the Hulk robot, and then Techno gets zapped in the back by the new Citizen V, who comes down and confronts Zemo. Oh, shit. Atlas is at the hospital next to his brother, who has just been pronounced dead. And he sees on the news that they're talking about the Thunderbolts fighting the lightning rods and Graviton being there. And he realizes the damage he does by running away. Oh. Graviton is happy to be back on Earth. He controls gravity, and he's really fucking powerful. Nobody can touch him. Everybody tries, but he very easily takes everyone out. Even Moonstone's phasing doesn't work because he's like, "You still exist. You're still affected by gravity, man." Citizen V and Zemo are sword fighting in Mexico. Citizen V says that he is the grandson of the original Citizen V that Zemo was claiming to be, the true descendant. And Zemo says the original Citizen V had no offspring, but I'm still going to kill you.
So there's an original Citizen V?
Yes, like from, I guess, World War II era comics, maybe?
Yeah, I'm guessing an Invaders Roy Thomas character, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Oh, it says he first appeared in 1942.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
In Daring Mystery Comics. Wow.
I doubt he looked like this, like flag cape and everything. That
actually 100% does. He's just blue instead of purple.
Yes.
Because we were making fun of Citizen V. We're like, literally, like, Zemo did like the laziest costume ever. He just had his purple Zemo costume and then put the American flag on himself. But turns out,
no, it's a real costume.
I was like, wait, really? Yeah, he's he's blue with like the American flag like on like his shoulder pads.
On his shoulders, yeah.
Yeah. Which is
this Citizen V that's coming up is is wearing like a uniform with a big V on his chest.
Yeah.
So that looks pretty different. He just looks like a dorky guy with a mask and a uniform and yellow gloves.
And he's also like the grandson of the original Citizen V is what he said, right? Or father or son?
That's what he said.
Okay. Yeah. We don't know yet.
And if I'm not mistaken, as this series goes on, there's a few fake outs as to who it really is. So we'll see. Well, where was I?
Also knocks out Techno.
Also knocks out, yeah, Techno. It says he'll be incapacitated for a half hour, giving me enough time to do what I need to do from you.
I did like that Zemo is like slightly. He's like, good job with the Hulk robot, but why does he sound like this was from, like 30 years ago?
Oh yeah, and he's like, well, you see, the only footage I had to work on was this old archival footage, and we needed it fast, so that's. I love that Kurt Busiek. Just like I'm sure he like. I don't even think this was anything that a reader wrote in or complained about. I think it's just like him knowing this stuff is bothering me. Why is this? Like, I got to reference this and figure out exactly why.
I like that he references, because Graviton was last appeared in a Marvel spin-off book called Avengers Unplugged, which was a 99-cent book that I've read a few issues of, and those books were overpriced for what they delivered for 99 cents. They were not good.
So yeah, Graviton kind of retells his origin story, that he was a physicist working on a teleportation beam, and there was a power spike, and it scrambled his molecules with some other experimental gravity stuff. And then he was using his powers, and every time he used his powers, he kept running into superheroes. And then one time, the vision phased into his body, made it collapse in on himself and into some sort of micro dimension. He met the people there, the Ptah, and they treated him as a god. But ruling them was not satisfying because they were all stupid. It was like ruling a planet of dogs. So he built a beacon, and somehow it got answered, and he doesn't know how he made it back, but he doesn't care. And that's pretty much it.
This also sounds like Ant-Man. Quantum Mania.
Yeah, it
a little bit,
doesn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
And he's blue here, so yeah.
They could just have him replace what's his name, who's not going to be in any. Jonathan Majors is who I was thinking of. But yeah, the character Kang could be replaced, but just have Graviton step in there.
Man, I feel like there's been a lot of parallels to Ant-Man Quantumania and this 4 issues that we've read of Thunderbolts, 4 or 5 posts. Like, I don't know who wrote this that was a big fan of Thunderbolts. It's like, these are great ideas. I'm gonna put them in my movie. But here we are.
Yep. So Graviton has been telling all this to all the heroes who he's got frozen in place, and then Atlas drops down from a plane.
Hell yeah, this art is good.
And surprises Graviton. Graviton does try to defend himself by being like, oh shit, make him fall out of the sky. Except he was already right over him, so it just kind of made the whole thing worse for him. And Atlas starts beating up on him, but Graviton is still good. He's too powerful, and he says he'll kill them all. Then Moonstone is like, okay, and then what? It kind of gets in his head, like, you don't know what you want to do with your power. Like, you don't know what you're going to use it for, so you're always going to fail. You don't even know what you want. And Graviton is mad, and then he's like,
It's true.
You're right, though. I don't know what I want. He's like, I'm going to leave, but I'm coming back. He flies away.
I like that. I really like that.
Yeah, it worked pretty well.
It's both legitimate. Like, what's your end game here, man? You gonna kill everybody? What's the plan?
I do like that because, Graviton has been on another planet or whatever, another dimension. She's like, what are you going to do about the Defenders and the Champions? And Jolt is like, those teams don't exist anymore. She's like, shut up.
I love that gag. Also, that was like a thing because it was like Graviton doesn't familiar with the standard Marvel universe at this point, which I thought like that would have been cool for like top 10 as well as like a villain that like maybe was there like 20-30 years ago, or with the 49ers back in that time. That's now in the present day. Like, I don't know who any of these fucking heroes are. This is fucking weird shit. I like that. I like that idea for Graviton.
So they're all welcoming Atlas back now, but Jolt is still mad at Moonstone. She's like, you didn't solve the problem. You just kind of put it off for another day. And she's like, maybe he'll go home and realize that all he wants is to collect baseball cards and he won't bother us anymore.
I don't know if any of this is going to end up coming to a head, but like I like the idea that they've kicked the can down the road and then like everything's going to come home to roost at the exact same time.
Yeah.
I really like that. Because of that and the other alien planet that they messed up.
I feel like stuff does come back, but not all at once.
Yeah. I know Graviton will be back. I don't know if those aliens come back.
Moonstone then asks Mr. Immortal from the Lightning Rods from the GLA if they're still going to take them in. And Mr. Immortal realizes the lightning rods are in no shape to do that. So he's like, yeah, I guess I don't have a choice. The news afterwards in this small town is saying that they don't know if the robot Hulk was a con job or not, but we do know that 5 wanted criminals showed up to the city and they got away clean. Meanwhile, in Mexico, Zemo and Citizen V are still fighting. Citizen V has rigged explosive mines throughout the castle, and they're going off. And he tells Citizen V to run. Tells Zemo to run like a scared, pathetic rabbit. And he says, Zemo never runs, and he lets the building crumble around him. Citizen V watches from a cliff, assumes there's an escape tunnel somewhere.
I say Zemo has to reluctantly admit that was very cool.
Yeah. And he vows that Zemo will be destroyed for what he did, and so will the Thunderbolts. Yep. Yeah, definitely better than the last issue, I think. Yeah. We learned a little bit more, even though not much actually happened in terms of stuff. It was just kind of building new storylines. Graviton definitely does come back. I'm not sure if I'm remembering this. I shouldn't even spoil it.
I looked up I was trying to look up Citizen V history, and I do see who this Citizen V is, and I'm pleased with it. But also, I'm like, how the hell did this Citizen V do that? Because I don't think they're that capable.
I don't even know what you're seeing, because I also don't remember what they stuck with. But
they're like, this person met the Wikipedia article says this person met Baron Zemo down in Mexico, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is probably that story then.
Okay, all right.
So, but the new Citizen V in Marvel Comics as of last month is Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character from the Thunderbolts movie.
What? Wait, who's she playing?
Alexandra Desfontaine,
she's the granddaughter.
Fury.
Yeah. She's like a Madame Hydra or something, wasn't she? Valentina Allegra Desfontaine, that's who it is.
I know she was a supporting character in Nick Fury. I forget her deal.
Yeah, she's a Nick Fury supporting character. She's also married to Everett Ross as of Black Panther 2, or ex-husband or ex-spouse of Everett Ross. It's a bit odd. And now I guess in the comics, they're Citizen V as of last month. Messed up.
Okay. Cool. Weird. There's so many characters in comic books, y'all.
And now I'm down the rabbit hole of Valentina Allegra Desfontaine. Lisa Rinna from Real Housewives played her in something in 1998 in the Nick Fury movie. So
wait, I forgot there was a Nick Fury movie
with Hasselhoff, right?
Yeah, David Hasselhoff.
Yeah. And one of the Real Housewives plays Valentina Allegra Desfontaine.
Ooh.
Lisa Rinna, I know her face. She's from Beverly Hills.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we never covered this, but
she's
maybe
married
one
to
day
Harry Hamlin in real life. How about that? All right.
Oh, yeah, her from Veronica Mars.
Yep.
Oh, she was on Days of Our Lives. My mom watched that soap opera. I remember her.
She was married to Harry Hamlin in real life and in Veronica Mars.
How bizarre. Okay. Well, that sound means it's probably we've gone off the rails of the Thunderbolts.
All right. So, yeah, what are we doing next time? Of course, Thunderbolts number 18. What's happening there? I don't know. I didn't even look at the cover.
Jolt looks sad on the cover.
Aw, Jolt, cheer up. We got our main read next time is a book by Kurt Busiek. We're doing double Kurt Busiek next time.
Kurt Busiek.
That's pretty good. We got Superman Secret Identity. It's a 4-issue miniseries that is not in the DC universe. It's about a kid named Clark Kent. He's from a small town. He's a reporter. And everyone's always making fun of him because his name's Clark Kent and he's from a small town and he's a reporter. He does not have powers. There's no Superman in this world. And,
well, it's like our world, so obviously there were Superman movies and stuff like, oh my god, your name is Clark. All right, Clark Kent. All right, loser.
Yeah. But spoiler alert, he gets powers. So we'll read.
It's really good. I read it, Kia, when you
I read it when it came out, and I recommended it to you forever ago.
And I think I was staying up late one night, late because Bruce was 6 months old. And I was like, okay, well, let's just read this book that Kia suggested to me. I was like, this is really, really good. I was reading like at 3 a.m. with an infant. It was a great time. It's a good book.
Right. If a comic book can keep you reading at 3 a.m., then it's a really good comic. Or
I was massively delirious and it was not a good comic. We'll find out.
Maybe it's terrible. We'll see. I don't know if it holds up. Chris, did you say you've read this?
No, I've not read this.
Hey, cool.
It's
all
gonna
right,
be the first time for Chris, and we're gonna be the veterans this time.
Yeah, the tables are turned. We've got so much encyclopedic knowledge on the book that we read 20 years ago. I'm gonna tell you all about it.
Mine was 11, but yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna be the expert this time. What else is going on, Vince? Chris. What's the podcast doing? Are y'all doing the Hasselhoff Nick Fury movie?
Maybe soon. We're doing a series that we just started, which I'm calling. I just moved and I have a bunch of DVDs that I bought at Half Price Books to cover, and we haven't in the last like 5 to 10 years. So now we're gonna do. I'll probably shorten that series title later.
So, something catchy.
But so we covered Galaxis from 1995, starring Brigitte Nielsen. And also with a cameo, and Brigitte Nielsen and I think Richard Mull, whatever the guy from Night Court, Bull, and also
the bald guy,
Two-Face. Yeah, the bald guy from Night Court, Two-Face from the Batman cartoon. He's the villain. It starts out as a Star Warsy fantasy, but then they run out of money, and it turns into a chase through Los Angeles at night.
Amazing.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun, and so we're probably doing another one coming out soon. We've got a few options. The good thing about all these movies that I bought for like $3 is now they're all free on Tubi. But I'm getting the physical media, so you can compare the whatever version they've edited content or otherwise changed production logos versus what they put out in like 2002.
And you don't have commercial breaks.
Exactly. And I don't even have to use a VPN or any other shady ad blocking technology that my computer yells at me for.
Whoa, nice. Vince, what's going on with you?
Not much is going on with me. I recorded an episode of Games My Mom Found. We talked about this last time. Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3 for the Game Boy. I covered that with them. I recorded a few weeks ago, so usually he comes out with them about a month from now, a month after recording. So that should be out soonish. So check that out. And that's all I've got to plug. Kia, what do you got to plug?
I'm gonna plug stretching. I think stretching is great. I think more people should stretch.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably not stretching enough. You who's listening to this, not stretching enough. Yeah. Stretch more.
Yeah.
Everyone
do those strenuous police exercises that Joe Pye was telling us about.
Exactly. Do those good strenuous police exercises and stretch beforehand, and then keep on doing those police exercises, baby. All right. All right, I think that's it for the episode. Vince, I love you.
Love you too, buddy.
Chris, I love you.
Do you, or is that just your programming?
Oh.
You're the robot now in this scenario.
He didn't say a slur, though. He didn't call you.
No. I'm I guess Irma, not the.
He didn't call you the CL word.
Yeah, you're more Irma. Honestly, it might just be my programming. I feel like this is just a thing I say at the end of every episode. I don't know if I mean it. Listener, I think I love you. I don't know. Am I just saying? I don't know. I'm questioning everything.